Hi y'all, I'm Sabrina Walker Hernandez and I am doing my blog summary for this week. I am a little bit behind because as some of you know who follow me, I had my grandbaby with me all last week and he left yesterday. So I'm a little sad, but he is a great little boy. His name is Austin and he is healthy. His mama took him to the doctor today. He's gained a whole pound. So he is thriving and surviving. And so I am so appreciative of that. But without further ado, I want to let you know about the blog that I wrote. So the blog that I wrote was how to start a nonprofit with 4 basic steps. Now, I do these summaries because a lot of people, some people read, but some people learn from hearing. So I like to just do these summaries really quick. And if it piques your interest, you can go and read the full blog. And at the end, I'll share with you where you can find that full blog. But there are 4 basic steps to creating a nonprofit organization. And so that is one of the questions that I get asked a lot from people who call me for consultations. They haven't started a nonprofit. They want to start their nonprofit. They don't know where to begin. Some are intimidated by the paperwork, and that's okay. And so I did this really layout. Okay, this is what you need to do. But also as a consultant, it's one of my services that I can do for you, of course, with your support, because there's some things that I just can't do for you. I can do the paperwork for you at the state level and at the federal level, but identifying your board members, developing your mission and all those things are things that you have to do as the person who wants to start the nonprofit. So first things first, one, you have to define your mission. So you got to define your mission, and before you move forward with any paperwork, you got to ask yourself, what group will your nonprofits focus on? What services will you provide? What do you hope to accomplish with your nonprofit? And you need to ensure that there's no duplication of services out there in your community. Now, let me give you an example here. So there's a lot of foundations or a lot of nonprofits that service cancer, but they're very specific to what kind of cancer that they have. So some might focus on breast cancer, some might focus on lymphoma, some might focus on kids. So you have to kind of canvas your community to see what is out there so that you do not duplicate services at all. So you just need to make sure that your nonprofit is unique and your mission is unique. And the second thing you have to do is pick a name. So in picking a name for your nonprofit, you really need to ensure that it's easy to remember, because remember, you're going to be asking for donations from your supporters. And so you don't want it to be hard for them to find you on the World Wide Web or anywhere. So make sure your name is easy to find. It's very crucial, and you want your name to kind of tie back in to what your mission is. So in picking a name, there's a couple of technical things that you have to do. One, you have to search the state list of existing nonprofits to make sure that you're not duplicating a name that's already out there. And you also need to check with the trademark, with the Department of Commerce for a trademark to ensure that that name has not been trademarked, because that will be horrible. You go through all this paperwork, you pick the name, you fall in love with the name, and to find out you can't use the name. So you'll have a couple of options and search those names out before you say, this is the name of my nonprofit, okay? And then the third thing you're gonna do is you're going to select board members. Now, you're gonna need your board members, and there's a whole piece that goes into board members. You gotta make sure you have a good board of directors, especially if you're starting your startup nonprofit. And I'll be doing another blog on that and what to look for and who to look for and all that. But you really need to put some thought into that. But the reason why on the paperwork side that you need to have your board of directors is because when you file with the Secretary of State, you need to file with your board members' names and addresses. Now, every state is going to be different on how you file your state paperwork. For example, in Texas, you only need a minimum of 3 board members, but that's because that's Texas. In another state, it might be another minimum. So you really have to research your state, and that's where a good consultant can come in and help you, because they can help you with that paperwork and ensure that you have a smooth application process. So once you are official at the state level, the next step is registering with the IRS. And that word alone, those initials, intimidate people. But let me say, when you're what paperwork you file at the IRS depends on the size of your nonprofit. So if you feel like your nonprofit is going to raise more than $50,000 each year over a 3-year period, so that's over $50,000 the first year, over $50,000 the second year or the third year, you need to do the 1023 form, the long form. But if you feel like your organization is going to be raising under $50,000 for year 1, 2, and 3, then you do the 1023 easy application. And that one, you can find all the requirements on that one on the IRS website under the section for 501c3. If you go to the blog itself, it has links back to all this, so you don't have to think about it. While in addition to filing your IRS 1023 application, you also have to make sure that you finalize your bylaws and your conflict of interest policy. Again, that's where a consultant can come in and help you, or if you like to research and you can figure these things out, you can figure these things out on your own. Consultants like myself, we're going to save you time because this is what we do, and we have all those documentations that we have ready, set to go. It just depends on how fast you're moving, what your personal budget is. For example, I charge $600 to file all your paperwork. It doesn't include the $25 fee for Texas or the $275 fee for the federal application. So you have to keep those things in mind. Now, while your application and your paperwork is pending, get out there in the community and let them know about your organization. This will lay a foundation for individual giving. You can also kind of begin to plan your first fundraising event, and I'll be talking about that in more detail in another blog. And once your paperwork is secured, you can incorporate social media and fundraising campaigns. So what I mean by that is if you want to be a recognized nonprofit to raise money on Facebook, then it's an application process with Facebook themselves that you can start register for and start raising money on your nonprofit page. You can set up a nonprofit page at any time, but if you want to raise money on that nonprofit page, you have to go through the Facebook application process. So that is where some of the things that you can start working on, and you're going to need to work on these things because you're going to need it to have your operational costs, your seed money that you're going to need for your organization, because again, you should have a budget that you put together. And my goal is to provide a blog on how to do that budget, or a video on how to do that budget. But there's also some good videos out there on YouTube if you just can't wait. But it is a blog that I plan on doing. But whatever your nonprofit purpose is, you want to ensure it gets off the ground right. So as you know, as you grow, make sure you seek the advice of experts like myself. You can hire a consultant. You can join Facebook groups for nonprofits. I've found great value in there. There's one in particular called Blacks in Nonprofit that I really enjoy being a part of. There's also the Thriving Nonprofit and Nonprofit Unleashed. And there's also my favorite one, which is the one that I manage and moderate, which is called Nonprofit Professionals Exchange. And all these groups really are there for the nonprofit professionals. If you have a question, I don't know what to do about this, or you're looking for grant opportunities, we post grant opportunities. We're there to help each other as a group. It's almost like family within those groups. So again, my call to action is join my Facebook group, which is Nonprofit Professionals Exchange. But as mentioned, there are a lot of groups out there that have been helpful for me, and I gave those other 3. So I really encourage you to do that. And the last thing I'm going to say is, almost next to the last thing, because I always say that and then I say one more thing. If you want a free consultation, I give 30-minute free consultations. You can just visit my website at www.supportingworldhope.com, and you can sign up for a free 30-minute consultation, and we can talk through any issues that you have, any challenges that you may have. But more importantly, if you join my group, I do live coaching every week, and I dedicate an hour to answer any questions that you have. So we can even go beyond that 30 minutes. If you just join me on Thursday at 6, you can ask a question a week and you'll get my coaching for free. But if you're watching this on YouTube, let me say, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll also find the links to the complete blog and to my Facebook group all in the description. So go ahead, subscribe, and also look for the links at the bottom in the description. So that is my time for tonight. I thank you for joining me for my blog summary, and I will be posting my next blog on Thursday and doing my blog summary within that week. So good night, and y'all have a blessed night.